we can get it started here, and I'm sure some people will funnel in afterwards. But for anyone that doesn't recognize me, I am Jared with Art of Homeownership, and I just wanted to welcome everyone and thank you all for jumping on today's session. We are lucky to have Jessica here with Revive to tell you more about the new product they're launching, which I believe is Revive Lite. And we will be here to field any questions that you folks have. And as we start, Jessica starts to take you through everything, please feel free to put any questions you folks have in the chat or the Q&A, and at any moment that we have time for a good stopping point, we will be happy to address those for you. And so now I'll turn everything over to Jessica, and thank you again, Jessica, for joining us today.
Of course, thanks for having me. So I'll be honest, it's news to me that this was going to be a Revive Lite training. And so if you give me 1 second to prepare, I will be ready for that. I know that we've talked before about our sort of power buyer, prepare to buy program. We've discussed our standard program. And so let me tell you a little bit about Revive Lite. That'll be great. All right, let me share my screen here. Okay. Ooh. You guys see that?
I can.
Okay, perfect. So Revive is what we like to say, real estate's leading provider of pre-sale renovations. And so you really have two types of renovations when home sellers are selling. And, the majority of home sellers, when they're putting their home on the market, would like to sell for the most amount possible. We also know that today's buyers are able to be a little more picky, and the majority of today's buyers are the millennial generation. We call them the HGTV generation, and they would much prefer to buy a turnkey move-in ready home than not. Today's buyers really do not want fixer-uppers. They would much prefer something turnkey. Now, there is turnkey where it's clean and someone could move in. And then of course there's updated and renovated. So you really have two types of pre-sale renovations. So you've got those major renovations for maximum profit. So those are going to be those smart renovations where we're determining what's the biggest value add, where can we put money in to get the biggest return on investment. We're talking flooring, painting, kitchens, bathrooms. So Revive has solved for that. In 27 marketplaces, we have a full service, start to finish renovation solution. So that's probably what you guys have heard about before, kind of Revive Regular, where you would introduce a client and an agent to Revive, and they would put together a plan really rooted in return on investment. They would work with one of our contractors who we handle everything, their back office. So we handle their contracts, their design, their materials sourcing, the quality control. So we handle everything for the contractor so they can get to work, do what they do best. We front the costs and handle it start to finish. Now, that's one side of the business. Now, we found that some people just want to make minor renovations just for a quick home sale. So this would be, the home needs to be functional, clean, ready to go on the market, and maybe not sell for max profit, but to sell for fair market value. Now, this major renovation for maximum profit and our whole process can sometimes get in the way if an agent simply just needs to replace carpet in a home or maybe just stage it. And so what we've recently rolled out is called Revive Lite. This is a solution for real estate agents who just want to do light preparations to their listings. Now, what this offers them is flexibility. This is budget friendly, it's accessible, inclusive, and it's hands-on. So what do I mean by all of that? So flexibility, and agents have the flexibility in this case to pick their own vendors. It's budget friendly, so this is going to be covering projects that are up to $25,000. This is accessible, so it's available nationwide. I mentioned Revive Regular is available in 11 states and 27 marketplaces, but we do have agents and lenders who come to us and say, hey, you're not in our area, anything you can do to help? So we have rolled this out nationwide. It's inclusive, so it doesn't have to be just one vendor. We can cover up to 3 different service providers. Let's say it's a painter, a flooring person, and a stager, or any other combination. And this is going to be more of a hands-on process for the realtor. So the realtor does get the vendors themselves, they manage the vendors themselves. Revive simply helps to put the plan together and provides the money. Now, we kind of mentioned some of this, buyers do want turnkey homes. 80% of Americans say they prefer to buy a move-in ready home than one that requires any fixing up. And in fact, there's a lot of regrets from over the past couple of years of buyers, jumping into homes too fast, or not doing inspections, or, overpaying, and there's some regret. So, or there's problems that have come up, over the past couple of years, repairs, and buyers don't like that. They'd prefer it to be turnkey and move-in ready. 7 out of 10 of buyers say that they would sacrifice square footage in a home in exchange for a renovated home. That was actually from an NAR study. And 85% of buyers say that photos are really their deciding factor in deciding if they're going to go tour a home. So any prepping for that home, whether it's, like I said, painting and staging only, it is going to make those homes, of course, stand out, and the buyers will be looking at them. We've got a couple of case studies here just to go over and show you as is. So this is one of our agents up in San Jose, California. She had a listing that as is was about 1.8 million, put in 79, almost $80,000 of renovation. So now we're talking a little bit off of the Revive Lite onto the regular renovations. She sold for over $2 million and profited her client $170,000. And I think that here you've got a few other examples of some of these slightly smaller renovations that really made a big impact. So again, oh, there's a picture of me. The Revive Lite details, agents have to have their own Rolodex of contractors. They take on the responsibility of managing the projects themselves. Will go up to 25K, maximum of 3 trades per project. And again, available nationwide. Total control of the project on the agent side. They get to use their own network. A lot of agents have their people that they like to use, and it does help them stand out throughout the nation. And I'll take some questions, and I'm wondering if we want to jump and just do a quick refresher on the Prepare to Buy program, if anyone either hasn't heard of that or is interested in some updates or any other products. So I know we kind of have a relatively small group on, and so happy to kind of go over any other products, any questions. We've got time to jump into it.
Yeah, Jessica, I think it would be best if you gave them a quick run through, because I do see some new partners here. So if you wanted just to give them a quick refresher or a brief introduction to that, and then we can, I guess, consolidate the Q&A, because in respect to the fact that the attendee list is a little bit on the shorter end today, so we should have plenty of time to do that.
Yeah, that's perfect. And I think that our Prepare to Buy program is really the one that gets, I'm assuming most people on the call are on the LO, the lender side. And so this is the product that usually speaks most to lenders, but it's great to have all of these different tools and ideas in your back pocket, so that when you're talking to agents, you have something to talk to them about, you have something of value to share with them. So that's why I wanted to make sure that we let you know about any new products that we roll out at Revive. So I'm going to share my screen again, so we can just kind of do a quick overview of the Prepare to Buy product. And then we have when I'm done with this, I want to tell you kind of another couple more exciting things that are happening at Revive. So some of you may have seen this presentation before, but I'll run through it. So we know that even today, in a ever-changing market, there still is more cash in the market than ever before. Still 30% of US home sales are being closed in cash. And even though we are obviously seeing a more balanced market throughout the country, we're still seeing that standard buyer, especially the buyer who's still contingent on if they have a home to sell before they're buying their next home, that can still leave them at a disadvantage. So if they're contingent on a home sale, if they're contingent on an appraisal, if they're contingent on a loan, they're going to be at a disadvantage versus those who can come in and close quickly with cash. So kind of whether it's an up or down market, we're still seeing that homeowners who are juggling between selling their departure residence and finding the next home are still in this predicament. And even those first-time home buyers, if they want to not only beat out any competition, but in this market, negotiate a lower price for a home, having cash is really nice. A quick closing cash offer can still help the client get into the home that they want to get into. So Revive created this program essentially for those clients. And the process is that you get the client qualified. Revive steps in and makes a non-contingent quick closing offer on this client's next home that they want to buy. We close on that home, we become the owner. Then we rent that new property to the client so they can move right in. They start paying a monthly rental fee, and their agent can then get their departure residence on the market, sell it. Hopefully they may use Revive Regular or Revive Lite to get it prepared. They sell that home, and then the client is in the position to get the loan from their lender and buy the house back from Revive. So that's kind of the light overview. Now, qualifications are we need the client to have a fully underwritten TBD loan approval with a plan to purchase the home back from us. And so they need to have that with a preferred lender. And because of your affiliation with Art of Homeownership, that is you. They also need to have 25% of the purchase price of the new home in either equity or cash. Now, Revive does collect that cash up front, or we put a deed of trust on their departure residence to secure that 25%. But we just need to remember that they do need to be fully underwritten with a TBD approval so that we're not getting anyone into any trouble. They need to be able to buy the house back from us. And we need to make sure that they've got 25% equity or cash. We love to have a consult call with the client and their agent and the lender so that we can all be on the same page. And we want to make sure that they have reserved funds for monthly rent and for closing costs. So we're going to look for that TBD loan approval, going to get a prelim on their departure residence, current mortgage statement, trust docs, and a listing agreement or comps on their departure residence. All of this just make sure that they're qualified. We make sure they're qualified for the loan, the future loan, and make sure they have the equity that we're looking for. The client renders the earnest money. The client does all of the inspections, reviews all of the disclosure. So even though Revive is technically buying the home, the client is doing all of their due diligence up front so that when it comes time to buy the house back from Revive, they've taken care of all of that. And when you're talking to your agent partners, the agents are not cut out of these deals. The agent represents Revive on the purchase. So if you've got an agent and a client who are out there looking for homes and they're not being successful, essentially Revive just steps in, the agent represents us, they still get their commissions. And we do require that if that client has a home to sell, that they get it ready, they get it on the market within 30 days. Our costs are as follows. So upfront, the only thing out of a client's pocket is going to be earnest money. The other costs to use this program are the Revive convenience fee. Today, that is 3.25% of the purchase price of the new home. That allows them 4 months to buy that house back from Revive. The fee does increase 1% every 4 months thereafter, and they have 12 months total to buy the house back from us. I'm going to mention on this call that over the past few months, if you've heard about this program maybe a year ago, you'll see that our fee has increased a little bit. And I'm anticipating that the fee may go up again with, we're all seeing the cost of money going up. And so, always please do check in with us before you're kind of pitching the program, just to make sure that the fees are still in line with what you've learned today. And you do, because of your partnership or your affiliation with Art of Homeownership, you are able to get your clients a 1/4 point discount on this fee. So today that brings your clients down to 3%. I mentioned that there's that 25% that the client needs to have in equity or cash. If they have it in equity, totally fine. We put a deed of trust on their house for that amount, and they pay the standard convenience fee. If they happen to be a first-time home buyer, or they have that 25% in cash and they're willing to give that to Revive up front, we offer another 1/4 point discount on the fee. So there's ways to get this down a little bit. And of course, you automatically get that 1/4 point discount for your client. We've rolled out what we call Revive Rescue, which is going to be if you've ever encountered a client who maybe they are in escrow to buy a house, you've qualified them, ready to go, and then something happens. For example, their departure residence was in escrow and it falls out, and their earnest money now is at risk, and they really need to close on this home, or they lose it and they lose their earnest money. So we created Revive Rescue, which is a flat 3.5% fee, where Revive will come in, take assignment of that contract, and we'll close it for them. And then it rolls into the standard Prepare to Buy program. So as long as they qualify and we have enough time to close, then we can kind of rescue them out of that escrow. On a monthly basis, they are going to pay Revive rent. That starts on the day that Revive takes ownership. It continues to the day that they buy the house back from us. And then lastly, because we do have 2 transactions happening here, Revive buys the home as the buyer, we hold on to it, and then we sell the home as the seller. There is a second set of closing costs that the client is responsible for. Just a little breakdown of when all these fees are collected. So earnest money up front never comes to Revive. It goes straight to escrow or title. The convenience fee and a 20% holdback and reimbursement for buyer side closing costs, that kind of makes up that 25%. That all is not collected until their departure residence sells. Monthly basis rent. And then when the client buys the new property from Revive, they're going to go ahead and pay the balance of the purchase price, less the earnest money and the option fee they've already paid. And then they pay that final closing cost to title and escrow. Couple of examples, and I think you guys either have this slideshow or I'll send you an updated copy so that AOH can send it out to you guys. But this gives you a few examples of what the fees would look like. A few stats, these I like to share with homeowners mainly is, as of July 2021, 30% of all home sales were cash. Some places in Florida are actually 50% cash closes. We are finding that non-contingent offers are 4 times more likely to get accepted than contingent ones. And our own internal stats are showing us that clients who are using this Prepare to Buy program today, not only are winning the home that they want, but they on average are negotiating a 3 to 10% savings off of the original list price. So it's, really interesting that most case studies today are showing that clients are covering that 3 to 3.25% fee simply by negotiating a lower purchase price. Now, for you guys lenders, if we're going to use the program, we just want to make sure the client's fully underwritten. Don't want to get anyone into trouble down the line when they go to buy the house back from us. And in a kind of an ever-changing rate market and whatnot, we just always want to make sure we're kind of underwriting conservatively. We want to make sure that we have a consult call with the client and the agent and the lender as soon as possible. It's really nice to be able to all be on a call together, explain the costs, break it down, and make sure that it's going to be a good fit for that client. We're going to want to make sure they have the 25% equity plus some reserves for earnest money, for the rent, for the closing costs. We want you guys to be familiar with the process, the contracts, the structure. You can present this. We've had clients use this who end up with conventional loans, jumbo loans, even VA. So I mentioned that they have to have this, they have to have this 25%. We take a 20% collateral. But at the end of the day, it's up to the client how much they want to put down on the house. So we've had plenty of VA clients who we hold their 20%. And when they go back, when they come to buy the house back from Revive, they go 0% down and we simply wire them their 20% back. Same works for someone who's maybe going up 5% down, 10% down. They only have to put as much as they want down at the end of the day. This can work for your 1031 exchange clients or investors. Doesn't have to be primary residence. It can be an investment property, as long as it's vacant when we buy it and we own it. Totally fine. Don't use for FHA loans. There's some rules, as you guys know even better than me, around flipping rules around, we create this relationship with them being their landlord. And so there's just some rules that don't really work so well with the FHA rules. And this isn't sort of a long-term rent to own solution. It's going to be for qualified clients. And lastly, this is what we're calling our buy box. So Revive is open to buying homes anywhere from $200,000 to $2 million. We definitely make exceptions on this case by case. So if you have something that's sort of outside of the box that you want to talk about, you can always bring it to us. We can see what we could make work. We want to always be careful. We're trying to make sure we're mitigating our risk, because even though, we're getting this prepaid 20% down and the client has a contract with us, if in the case that a client ended up backing out and deciding at the last minute, never mind, we don't want to buy this home back from you, we want to make sure that this is a home that we could quickly get rid of and sell. We don't want to be in the business of holding on to these homes if clients don't want to buy them back from us. So we want to make sure that they're on less than 5 acres. They're not in a rural place that are, sort of is uncomparable or difficult to sell. They need to be in lendable condition. We want them to be in a market that is a 60 days on market or less. 60 days on market or less. We're not buying any manufactured homes, no land leases, no undeveloped land, and no homes that have solar leases on them. And I know that's a lot of information. I will be able to send this to you guys afterwards, but that is the Prepare to Buy program. Quickly, before I open it up for Q&A, we're in pilot for it's another Prepare to Buy program, but it's kind of exciting. So this is going to be for your client. Let's say they're a well-qualified client and they find a home that's kind of a fixer-upper. So Revive never got their hands on it. This is a fixer-upper home and they'd like to buy it, but they don't necessarily have the money to fix it up, or they don't want to get hard money to do that. So Revive's piloting this program where Revive will buy that fixer-upper home, we'll renovate it, essentially using our Prepare to Sell program, and then we'll sell it back to the client for simply the price we bought it for, plus the 3%, and the simple cost of the renovation. So imagine that we buy a home in California, let's say a fixer-upper for $1 million, put $200,000 into it, and then it appraises for, well, likely if you buy a fixer-upper and fix it up, probably could appraise for 1.4, and the client has now walked straight into $200,000 of equity. So it's kind of an exciting pilot program, but keep that in mind where it's very similar to the Prepare to Buy, but it's kind of mixing Prepare to Buy and Prepare to Sell for buyers. So just wanted to throw that out there to let you know that that's something new that we have been working on. So I will
Jessica,
stop.
thank you so much for reviewing that as well. I mean, even for myself, it's great to see, to get reminded, and for the folks that were not up to speed fully, that it was a great brief introduction. I do have one question for you. As exciting as the Lite program is going to be for our partners to not only communicate with their clients, but to also strengthen those relationships with their realtor partners, I'm sure they'll be enthused by this as well. Do you see you folks having like consolidating these programs, or do you believe you'll teeter them? Because I know you've essentially introduced 3 programs today. Do you ever see Revive Lite just being a part of Revive overall? I just want to find a way for our partners to be able to communicate all of this to their clients and to the realtor partners without kind of, introducing too many programs that may seem confusing.
Of course. So we kind of see Revive, the renovation. How should I put this? So the renovation portion of Revive, the Revive Regular and the Revive Lite, they really go hand in hand. I would say that this is probably, it probably helps to think about where you're based and if you're in an area that Revive Regular is available. Because if so, that's, that's kind of the push. It's, Revive is this company that can help fix homes up before going on the market. We should talk to them. That would be the kind of just simple pitch. And then Revive Lite, it really just depends on the scope of work that's needed and what the agent's kind of situation is and where they're located. So I would say that your best bet is when you're talking to your partners is to simply know that you've got a tool in your pocket that can help agents fix up, whether it's very light renovations to very major renovations. That's in the back pocket with Revive. And then if you are trying to turn a buyer into an all cash buyer, that's the second program. And I would kind of keep it as simple as that. And, I tend to not try and pitch all these different programs unless it really fits into the story of that client. So that's my best advice, is know that we're a partner who has a lot of solutions. And if you have a unique situation and want to run it by Revive and see if it's something we can help with, that's great. Otherwise, keep it simple, as Revive can help prep homes for market and has a program that can do a cash offer so that LOs can compete against the Home Lights and the Home Words and the Ribbons, out there on the market.
Totally. Thank you so much. We did have a question from our friend Steve here that wanted for you to review the pricing and the breakdown of Revive Lite one more time. Would you be able to pull up the slide deck again and walk him through that?
Absolutely. And to be quite honest, I don't know if that is mentioned on the slide deck. And that's an extremely good point. Let me just take another look, because there is a very different pricing structure of Revive Lite to Revive.
I know you had the limit as to what the renovation cost was under 25,000. I just didn't see the breakdown like you did with the other program.
Yeah, and you're right, and that is not on that slide deck. So let me tell you the pricing models for the two programs. So on Revive Regular, I mentioned that Revive's doing a lot, right? And we've got these contractors, we've pre-negotiated pricing with them, we're handling their back office, we're doing their design, we're bringing them the lead. So for all of that on Revive Regular, we get paid by the contractor. And so there's no cost or fees or markup to the client. Now, when we talk about Revive Lite in these areas that maybe Revive Regular is not available, or we don't have relationships with these contractors or service providers, they're simply provided by the agent, there's going to be a fee associated with that because we have no relationship with these vendors. And so the cost to that program is a 15% convenience fee for the, that includes the communication with Revive to make sure that we're analyzing the property, discussing the scope of work, making sure it makes sense, and determining that together. And then the facilitation of the payments to each of the contractors. So that is just a kind of a simple 15% markup on the total of all services for Revive Lite.
Jessica, would you mind just to make just like even a quick slide to, I know you said you would follow up with an updated presentation for us. Would you be able to include that pricing in the presentation as well?
Yes, I can reach out to our graphic designer and ask for that. Yes, absolutely. I've made a note so that when we send that out, it's comprehensive.
Awesome. I don't believe, I see another question here. Steve also wants to know, with the cost of a roof or other single vendor being high, can you stretch the limit above $25,000?
Yes, again, case by case basis, very much kind of depending on the seller situation, what kind of their equity situation is, what our relationship with the agent or the loan officer is. So absolutely, we have stretched that budget. And again, it would just simply be a case by case basis to make sure that we are, mitigating our risk and making sure it's right for the client.
Do we have any other questions, folks? It doesn't appear so. I can give one more minute here for if anyone has. I don't see any in the Q&A. Thank you, Steve, however. But I believe that should be it for the questions. So again, Jessica, thank you so much for your time. And I know this delivering Revive Lite to us was a little bit a spur of the moment. So we thank you for your efforts on that. And I can also, if any of the partners do have questions for us, I can relay them back to you. And we'll look forward to receiving that presentation as well.
Fantastic. I hope you guys all have a great rest of your day.
All righty, everyone. Thank you so much for attending, and we look forward to hearing from you all soon.